Hello again, and welcome to the Referees World podcast, which offers education and training for referees of all levels. My name is Darren Cullum. I'm affiliated with Somerset FA, and this is Richard Mellin, who is the Technical Manager of Referees UAE based in Dubai. Rich, how wonderful to see you basking in this delightful heat of yours. We're here just to give a sense of day, as I like to do each week. Here, it's been pretty much freezing for the last 2 or 3 days. It's a Friday morning. It's the 3rd of December, and we're getting a little bit closer to Christmas.
Yeah, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas, I think, is the terminology. Here today, temperatures have dropped dramatically here in the UAE compared to what they were when we arrived in July. We saw temperatures up to 48 degrees quite often. And here we are today. We're 29 is the forecast today for the top temperature, and the temperature will drop to 23 during the evening.
Oh, what a shame. You must be mortified by that.
Well, it's strange you say that, but I've got to tell you, having been here for the 6 months that we are now, we do appreciate what they tell us as regards the temperature has dropped, and we do feel the difference. Although our body temperature has dropped, we recognize the drop as well. So this 23 degrees in the evening, it sounds balmy to you guys, but it is chilly.
Mate, my heart bleeds for you. You have got the biggest shock in the world coming when you come home in 3 weeks' time.
I know.
Anyway, for those listening to the podcast for the first time, here we are then. We're doing a little bit of experiment here. I know this is... been done for many, many years, but we haven't done it before. We're recording this to hopefully put up on our YouTube channel. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get it right. Between us, we'll bundle something together so you can watch the podcast as we record it. Now, in this particular episode, I want to do something that I would like to have discussed a few weeks ago, but other things have taken a bit more of a precedent. So I'm going to go back to this one, and I want to revert to doing admin, referees admin. Now, the reason I suggested this to you, Rich, was because at the beginning of October, I was running as assistant referee to a referee from the Devon FA called Matt Redmond. And Matt, I've got to say, was probably the most, how can I put this? He was the best I've seen in terms of his admin. I don't know Matt, or I didn't know Matt until this date, but his admin was brilliant. And he sent out this big long list of things to be aware of, to be noted of. And it was like he'd done a whole load of research for the game that we were going to that weekend. I just thought it was a really good talking point. I'll show the camera. There's the list that we got sent. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just read you what it says here. So on this document, it says competition, Tool Station Western League, date Saturday the 2nd of October, 3 o'clock, played at Bowdens Park. Hi all, confirmation from me for the above fixture that we're appointed together on. Could we please arrive at the ground 60 minutes prior to kickoff? So meet at 2 o'clock. Smart tracksuits acceptable still. The fee for AR is £40. Competition rules and things we need to be aware of. Standard competition rules. Be aware of the current fuel situation. Plan ahead, which I really liked. As I haven't worked with either of you previously, please let me know if there are any arrangements you need, e.g. under 18, separate change rooms, so on and so forth. We also like to welcome Dave Brammer to our team as match observer on the day. I'm travelling out from the Torquay area. I'm happy to pick anyone up en route if needed. Any issues, questions, or if you need travel arrangements, please let me know, and I look forward to working with you. And that was from Matt Redmond. Now, I just think that was a really good bit of admin from a referee that I've never met before. Normally, you get the usual email to and from the clubs. Yes, I'll be there, see you there, blah, 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 but nothing as in-depth as that. And I just thought it was really good. And I thought it's a really good talking point, Rich.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I know Matt Redmond from old, when I was the Southwest Pool coordinator for assessors or observers, as they are known in England. And for me, I expect similar approach from all level 4 referees as regards being organised. Those that have been in the system and going back down into local areas like as a level 5, I would still expect them to take those good traits and those good trends with them as regards being organised and communication. And I see no reason why people shouldn't follow Matt's example. And I know quite a few do, but there are quite a few that could learn from that. And it would help that camaraderie, that rapport, that connection for the first time between match officials who've never worked together, and this was exactly that example with you, wasn't it?
That was a great example. And the thing that really jumped out for me as well was the fact that he was on top of current news and events, i.e. the fuel situation. And at the time, admittedly, I hadn't even thought about it. I just thought, yeah, another game, we'll get in the car, we'll head up there, blah, blah, blah. But it was just like, oh, really good. I like that. And I've actually been in touch with Matt quite regularly ever since that game. So I know he'll be listening to this.
No, let me ask you another question about that match day, because whilst Matt talks about the fuel situation at the time, about diesel not being available for whatever reason, and I didn't really touch on very much of that news because I wasn't in the UK at the time. But the other things to consider when you're traveling, and Matt would have traveled from, as he said, the Torquay area to Cheddar. What's that, about 70, 80 miles at least?
Yeah,
that's my guess. Yeah. So he would have known about any roadworks on the road as well. And that's what you have to factor in as well. If the motorway was closed, say at Exeter, where he would have joined it as the main stream coming up the M5, he would have been preparing in and factored in any alternative routes, a plan B if the motorway was closed or there was an accident or there was a delay, there's congestion. Because in August and September, probably more in August, the M5 is like a car park.
Nightmare.
From Birmingham to Exeter, it's like a car park. And the amount of match officials that have come to me and said, sorry, I couldn't get to the game on time. I was stuck in traffic. What did you do about the traffic prior to leaving home? Did you prepare your route? Did you look at alternative routes in case of those events of a flat tire, a breakdown, and that may not be your car, but it might be somebody else who's blocking that access to where you want to get to. And once you come off the motorway at Burnham, going towards Cheddar, it takes a good half an hour to get to Cheddar because it's not a straightforward road. It's an A39. It's a main artery for traffic coming from Bristol as an alternative. So all those things come into mind. So good start for Matt.
So let's just talk about admin in general and the importance of admin, Rich, towards your promotion, because you could be the best. And we have touched on this before, not in as much detail as we're going to today, but admin is a big part of a referee's career. It's not, you could be the best referee in the world, but if your admin is a load of rubbish, then you're just not going to go anywhere, are you?
I agree with you, Dar. And I know there's a lot of referees out there that listen, they're talking about admin. What a boring pair of so-and-sos those two are on the referees world. It's all about referee education. And there are new referees listening to us. There are new listeners coming on board every week. So consequently, let's learn all the basics together. Let's do the basics as best possible. If you do the basics, you're off to a good start. It's a good foundation. You're set up. You don't arrive at the ground having been late because you're organized. If you arrive at the ground, what would it have been? Let me ask the question here, change direction slightly. Matt says, want you there 60 minutes before kickoff. Did you arrive 60 minutes before kickoff or 75 minutes?
For me, I would have arrived early. I actually got a lift up with him that day, and I'll tell you the funny thing. Here's a tip for anybody that's planning to leave their vehicle in a McDonald's car park near the motorway, particularly at Wellington in Somerset. Don't do it, because if it's there for longer than an hour and a half, you'll get a £65 fine, which is what I did. So I didn't make anything on my match fee that day.
Oh, you naughty boy! You naughty boy!
Shocker.
How many times have you used the motorway services and never read the signage?
On that one, well, it wasn't a motorway services. It was just a McDonald's close to the motorway.
Let me say to you, I can open up and say it happened to me 3 years ago. I agreed to go down to a game in deepest Cornwall on an evening game. Meet Lewis Ibbotson, who was the referee at the time, level 4, and we agreed to meet at Exeter Services. Met at Exeter Services, left my car in there, thought safe as houses, etc., etc. Came back, picked up my car midnight. It was only there for, I think it was something like 7 hours. but in a huge car park, not being used by anybody really in any great numbers. I came back, didn't think no more of it, jumped in my car. A couple of days later, I received a notice about excess parking, and I got fined, I think it was 40 quid.
Yeah, mine was 65.
Yeah. And Lewis offered to pay for me because I went down there to give some coaching for him. But I didn't accept that because Lewis is a good lad and he deserved every piece of help I could give him.
Is that if you didn't like him and he was a bad lad, you'd have charged him for it.
Well, stand by, who knows?
Yeah, so let's get back on track here. Admin and the importance of admin. And it's not just the admin in the build up to a game. We're talking about admin after the game as well.
Okay. I'm going to start before the game, no doubt, and then we'll finish with after the game. So you've got the appointment. Yep. You haven't got neutral assistant referees. Sorry, you don't have neutral assistant referees appointed. You've got club assistant referees. What is your admin before a game when let's say you're doing a game tomorrow, and I know you are somewhere, but what admin have you done so far since you've received the appointment from the Taunton District Saturday League?
Okay, so when the appointment comes through, obviously I'll mark it through, put it into the calendar, so on and so forth. Then generally about between 3 and 5 days before the game, the clubs will contact and just sort of say, hello, just to let you know, we're confirming the appointment for the weekend. This is who we are. This is where we play. There'll be food there for you at the end of the game. And it's like the formal introduction from the clubs. I will then reply to the clubs and sort of say, thank you very much for getting in touch. My aim is to be with you approximately an hour before kickoff. I will say thank you now for the meal, just in case I don't get a chance to see you on the day. And then what I would do is ask about the kit that both teams are going to be wearing, just so I can make sure that there's no clashes along the way. And one of the things that I've started to do, which I feel helps a little bit, is this whole business, which we have talked about recently, about the tape and the socks and the jewelry. I put a little note in to say, look, can you please pass the message down to the teams, because I've got a few days before the a few days before the games, to make sure that all tape and socks are the same color, and to make sure that the lads don't have any jewelry on. That way it makes things a little bit easier on the day. So when I do approach it on the day, I've got my backup and say, look, I advise the secretary to pass on the message down. If it hasn't been passed down, there's not a lot I can do about that. And then let me say to you, I don't do it in a facetious manner or anything like that.
I was going to say, it sounds like that. It sounds very OTT, over the top. Let me ask you right from the start, do you wait for the home club to contact you? Or if you know the appointment in advance, why don't you contact the home club secretary? Save him a call. Help him with his job.
Yeah, on some occasions.
Give yourself a few brownie points.
Yeah, on some occasions I have done that. I have to say.
Only a few. How many? How long have you been refereeing then?
Well, yeah. Okay, only a couple then. All right,
so the other thing is, what about if you're checking team colours? What about if there's a disagreement between the two teams and they fail to communicate efficiently, and you get to the game and there's a colour clash? They're both wearing the same colour shorts and socks, black and black. Top of the kit is white and red, but the shorts for both teams are black and black. What would you do? Could you have sorted it out before the game, before you got there? Could you have contacted both teams and confirmed what kit will you be wearing on Saturday? I know the home club, I've already been in touch with them, are going to be wearing red, black, black. That way they can bring kit to cover any colour clash to make sure it doesn't happen.
So this is why when I do my initial contact prior to the game, both of the clubs are generally are in the email. When the home club sends the initial email, they often put the away club in there as well, so that I can just reply to all. So it means that I am already communicating with them.
And all clubs use email, or do some clubs make a phone call?
I haven't had a phone call for a long time since I got back on refereeing after my sort of 4-year away period. I haven't had phone calls. Everything has been emails.
I wouldn't rely upon email entirely, because emails do fail at times for whatever reason. They may go into the spam box. So WhatsApp, social media, I know it all has a part to play, but there's nothing better than some traditional ways of talking one-to-one to a person. Maybe a phone call, maybe, pick up the phone. If it's easier to pick up the phone and say, "Hi, it's Darren here. I'm referee for Saturday's game. Looking forward to my fixture with you. Haven't been to see you for a while, but hopefully everything goes smoothly, and I hope to be there for about an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff." Set it all up, and then talk to the away club in exactly the same way. "Hi, just spoke to the home club for Saturday's fixture. Looking forward to the game, and refereeing both teams. What kit will you be wearing? I've just confirmed that they will be red, black, black." And it's all about opening up a good profile, starting with a good profile. And if you're a communicative referee, it will happen for you. And they'll say, "Hey, this guy's on the ball. This guy's, working with us. Looking forward to meeting this guy on Saturday. What will you do before the game? How do you set things up? Do you look at the league tables? Do you listen out for any news that's going on about the clubs?" All sorts of little bits and pieces that can help you. There may be one team that are scoring plenty of goals, but they're equally conceding plenty of goals. What do you need to know about that type of setup? All sorts of things go into it. Top versus bottom. Two middle of the table teams, what to expect, all sorts of things. Give yourself a visualization of what might be going to happen on Saturday for your game.
And obviously include things like checking the weather as well, because that's a big one.
Well, it is for you guys in the UK at this time of year. I mean, the conditions out here are now exactly how they need to be. We started off in awful temperatures in August, on August the 19th here, and we had drinks breaks first half and second half. And I just say to the guys in the UK, get yourself organised as early as possible. And if you're refereeing in August, and I know we're well past that stage now, get yourself organised, know what you're going to do as regards well-being of players. Look after the well-being of both teams. And don't show any bias towards it. Just say, "This is how I see it. This is what's got to be done. We're going to have a drinks break on 30 minutes and on 75 minutes. Okay. When I blow the whistle, it will be in a neutral area. Ball will be out of play, etc., etc. And off you go." And that's exactly how you look after the game and look after the players. Afterwards, what do you do afterwards, Dad? What are the big things that are important for your game? Let's say, do they differ from Tottenham District and the Somerset County League?
Yeah, I think they do. I think
okay. The reason I'm asking is because I know they do. Yeah. So let me say to you, how do you approach the Tottenham District, which is your local leagues? County leagues is different because they have a different expectation, a different administration system. What about whole game? How do you deal with that? Because a lot of people find out, not problems, that's not the right word, but they discover that whole game requires a little bit more information. Reporting of the game, yellow cards, yellow and red cards. So it's all those bits of information that you've got to be organised for, and get to the competitions, the information as quickly as possible, a couple of hours after your game.
Yeah, I was just about to say to you, what is the preferred time to get all your reporting done? Because sometimes it's not feasible to get your reporting done as soon as you come back from a game. I find myself in situations on a Saturday, as you know, my professional work as a DJ means that on a Saturday, I would literally come in from a game, get changed, and I'm out until sort of 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I don't actually get around to doing my admin till maybe a Sunday night.
I think you've just educated the whole world. My professional world as a DJ. Oh my word, that opens up, and that oh dear, I've got to put. I'm just holding my head in my hands at the moment, Darren, as you can see.
Ashamed that I said that. Sorry.
No.
That's I don't think money. You know that.
I don't think our listeners have ever known that, probably. But here we go. Anyhow, so yeah, going back. I mean, when you have a commitment as regards accepting the fixture, you've done the game, you get home, you've got to report certain things. Look at what the competition expects as regards the reporting times. Some may say within 2 hours of the game, some will say by 9 o'clock the next morning. Make sure that you're au fait with what you need to be doing. Let me say to you, there are commitments that you have to make to administration, which can involve red, yellow cards, late kickoffs, all sorts of things that come into it. So make sure that you know every piece of admin for each competition that you referee. And in your case, Darren, we'll talk about Taunton District, Somerset County League. Do you have to get involved in any whole game commitment as regards reporting? And what about when you do Toolstation Western League? Do you have to do anything on there? Do you have to coordinate with the referee on anything?
Yeah, Toolstation Western League, I would coordinate with the referee depending on an incident which may or may not have happened.
Yeah.
Which has involved me as the AR.
Well, I know on MOAS that our referees at level 4 have to acknowledge the game, etc., etc. The assessor has to acknowledge the game on the system, so it allows the link between the two to submit reports. And extraordinary reports such as, misbehavior by spectators or something else that may have happened at the game, a 15-20 minute delay because of bad injury and waiting for an ambulance, all sorts of things you have to report.
And on top of that, you're just talking about the whole game system and MOAS as well. Let's talk about the importance of closing dates as well.
Oh, wow. That is the biggest thing ever.
That is one of the big guns.
Yeah, if you can't do a game and you've got to do work or you've got a family commitment, just say, for personal reasons, I'm not available to do a game on the 25th of this month. Whatever reason, do not leave your dates open for the referee's appointment secretary to go and make an appointment. And then you say, oh, he's given me a game on the Boxing Day. I can't do it because we're out with the family on Boxing Day. Just close the date now. Don't wait until a week before. Close the date now. Close the date if you're not available for New Year's Day fixture. Close the date if you're not available for Good Friday. Close the date for Easter Sunday. All those things, either side of them as well, because it may be a family commitment that you're committed to, and it's right that you close it now if you know. And
I think as well, it's worth pointing out that particularly as you go up the system, when you get to sort of level 4 and upwards, there's every chance that you may get called upon to do a game during the week, sort of through the day, a reserve game. And that may be as a referee or even as a liner or something like that. So you kind of, the higher up the ladder you go, the more proactive you have to be with closing dates through the week.
Of course you do, because let me say to you, when there's match officials now that will be traveling, let's say 40-50 miles, going from, say, Weston-super-Mare down to Exeter for an evening's 7:30 kickoff. What time will they leave home? They need to be at the game at minimum 75 minutes before kickoff. So they got to travel, they got to plan, they've got to leave work. If you know you've got work on possibly a match day, tell them you're not available due to work commitments. That is understandable. But if you don't say, I've got work commitments Monday to Friday and I'm not available for evening fixtures more than 20 miles away, tell these people. When people were telling me as the appointment secretary, then it was easy for me to gauge who could go where. I mean, it's so much easier when you've got information and when you've got match officials working with you.
Okay, we're fast approaching our time out. Is there anything else that we need to touch on with regards to admin? I hope that's not an alcoholic, because don't forget you're on film this time.
Yeah, this is there is alcohol out here in the UAE. Don't get me wrong, but I've not sorted it. This is a nice can of Sprite.
Are you getting sponsorship cash for doing that? Are you?
Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. So, are we pretty much done and dusted on admin, or is there lots more that we need to discuss?
Yeah, I want people to tell me what do you have to do on reporting now, Daff, as regards yellow and red cards. Do you have to write anything on your report card when you go into a whole game?
So for me, with the lower leagues, I would have to do the normal stuff that you would do on the whole game system, and then I would have to write up a report on the attitudes of the players. It's a respect form that we have to fill out, and we do that on the County League and on the Taunton and District Saturday League as well. Basically, attitude to the players, the captains, was everybody respectful? Did you do this? Did you do that? So yeah, there's a little bit of extra admin for each game. On the whole game system.
Is it a tick box situation, or do you actually have to write a paragraph or something?
It's pretty much tick box.
All right. Okay. So it is helpful in that way.
Yeah, I put a little bit of blurb in, generally saying this was a great game, no problems with the teams, there was good atmosphere, they wanted to play football and they weren't kicking chunks out of each other. So I just put a little bit extra than just ticking it. I just think it adds more. What
about red card offences? How do you report those?
I would on the league respect forms, there's a little bit to fill in. It's just literally name of player and whether it was a caution or a red card. And then obviously on the whole game system, I would write the full bit of blurb.
Okay. So what the player's done, where he committed the offence, and the outcome of your decision making. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we might talk about report writing one day.
Writing reports. Yeah, I think.
But I think we've bored the listeners talking about admin on this occasion.
Yeah, I think we need to obviously wrap it up here because our time is out and you're probably bored stiff of our admin talk. Listen, if you do have any further questions about admin or anything to do with admin type things regarding refereeing, then always good to hear from you. You can get in touch through the website, which is refereesworld.co.uk. You can follow us on Twitter at Referees World Podcast. And of course, you can listen to the podcast on your podcast provider, whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever it is. And of course, the website, refereesworld.co.uk. And Rich, we'll see you next time.